These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another How About Them Celtics video. Sam and I here recording on Tuesday, November 7th, the day after the Celtics lost to the Timberwolves. We already did a pod on
First
that. We
loss.
discussed it. First loss of the season, but we're going to be talking about the reaction to that loss, specifically focusing on this quote, and the quote's like, Kristaps Porzingis, this is an article from Jared Weiss of The Athletic, was asked about the loss and said, no, I think it's great. I think we needed sometimes when you're winning, it's just kind of keep growing. But I think when you really get better, either you win or you learn. We got to learn something tonight. Then he said, but it's the losses like this. I think a team grows the most, and we need this. Every team needs this. And we need it probably the most because we were undefeated so far, and these guys are playing well. So credit to them and all the teams that want to beat us. That's a big compliment to us. And I kind of agree with this mindset. I mean, you look at the other quotes across the Celtics, and I sort of wrote about a similar angle to this for Celtics blog this morning. Joe Mazzulla after the game said, that was awesome. What a game. That was sick. And he also said, our opponents are always going to bring the best out of us. I thought we competed at a high level. Their defensive toughness outmatched our offensive toughness at time. Tatum was, smiling. He's like, I just had way too many turnovers. I got to do better. We got to do better. And the whole tone of the Celtics after the game was kind of like, yeah, like, haha, like not like okay that they lost, but like understanding that they can learn from a loss. And I kind of agree with that mindset, because as much as we can joke about 82-0, like, what are you going to learn if you just win every single game? Like, and then something goes wrong in the first game of the playoffs, right? It's in all honesty, that's kind of what happened last season to the Celtics. They started off red hot, made so many threes, and then when the threes stopped falling, they sucked, right? And so I think a loss, if anything, is like spinning it into a good thing makes sense from Kristaps.
When you lose, you got to spin it into a win. Celtics actually won yesterday, and they're still undefeated.
Sure.
I think it's good that they're looking to grow and learn from these things. I mean, it wasn't a pretty game by any means. Jack and I were sitting here watching it, and we were like, wow, they're playing like trash, and they're only down 3. Oh, wait, they're winning? How are they winning? So they kind of deserved to lose the game yesterday. Minnesota played real hard. They showed everybody why they're the number 1 defense in the league. And meanwhile, the Celtics kind of fumbled around and almost won the game, and really could have won the game if they just executed down the stretch. They were really bad, like turnovers, bad shots, just poor decision-making at the end of regulation. Then in overtime, they just kind of found out after playing with fire. I mean, Anthony Edwards finished him off, and that was it. They had no answer for him. They started to try and get back at him. They started playing Minnesota's game by quickly firing threes, looking to match the big punches that Edwards was throwing their way. And that's kind of the Celtics of old, like getting baited into trying to do too much late in the game. So it's time to grow. You have Philly tomorrow, or today, as you're listening to this, it'll be Philly. This is a big game. Philly's in second place, and they're a rival, and they're playing well. They're the second best net rating in the NBA. So this is going to be another test for the Celtics. It sounds like Derek White's going to be back, so that's a good thing too. I think they missed Derek White in this game, and I'm sure you agree with me. Of all people, you'd be like, yeah, could always use more Derek White. So
I agree.
Capitalize, learn from it, and just be better. It happens. It's not the end of the world that they lost.
I do think it's weird, though, because you mentioned last year, and they're almost turning the same problems and the same offensive issues they had last year into their consistent form of offense. Like, we complained a lot last year how they were just playing one-on-one ball, and they're kind of playing a lot of one ball this year, except instead of straight up one-on-one ISO into a shot, they're attacking mismatches and using them to create other offense. You didn't see that as much against the Timberwolves because the Timberwolves game planned against it, right? They stopped the Celtics from making those plays. They sort of forced Drew Holiday to be the main guy, and he struggled in that one. He didn't look for teammates enough, maybe, or Jaden McDaniels denied Jason Tatum the ball a bit too much. And so I think going up against Philadelphia, who, like you said, does have the second best net rating in the league, they're behind Boston at 14.1 for the Celtics, 12.6 for Philly. They're playing well. So this is going to be another good test. You have to assume teams are going to learn and hone in on what makes the Celtics so good. It's not going to last forever. They're going to need to find other forms of offense. And it's not like Philly doesn't have good defenders. I don't think they're as good of a defensive team as Minnesota, obviously, but I think Tobias Harris is a fine defender. He can probably stick on one of them. D'Anthony Melton's a defender. Kelly Oubre is a hustle player on that end, right? So they've got guys who can stand up. Even Nick Batum, he's older, but he can stay there on defense. Pat Bev, Robert Covington. So they have guys the Sixers can throw out the Celtics' best players. And so it's going to be interesting to see how the Celtics change their offense. And the mismatch hunting is especially weird because as much as it is consistent for them because they're so talented, it's going to change with every team. And so I think that's going to be something the Celtics need to figure out because you can't mismatch hunt with the same player every game because you're playing different personnel every game. And so I think that's going to be a big offensive storyline to watch for the Celtics. And Minnesota was their first big test. That's the best defensive team in the league, and they failed the test. And that's okay because it's not like that was game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Like that was game 6 of the regular season. So now they get to learn from it and apply it to the rest of the season.
Yeah, hoping to see more post-ups late in game because that's what's worked for them throughout the entire course of this very young season. The post has changed things. We did a whole video on it, and it's really cool to see them picking apart defenses without having to do too much. Last night, they tried to do too much. There was a lot of being sped up, particularly the play where they kind of tried to go for a 2-for-1 at the end of regulation, and Tatum makes a sloppy pass to Al Horford, who then just turned into a rag doll and fell out of bounds. It was one of the worst crunch time plays I think I've seen from the Celtics maybe ever.
New FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube at YouTube TV.
And it just seemed to be unnecessary. They got impatient.
He clamped
Yeah.
him. Tatum didn't.
No,
that's
Minnesota
not
threw everything they had at the Celtics and made them uncomfortable. But at the same time, you have the talent to kind of slow down, take a deep breath.
I agree.
And find the right shot, right play, right pass, whatever it may be, instead of just dribble, shoot, dribble, double team, wild pass, fall over.
I agree.
I thought the Jalen shot at the end of regulation was fine, by the way.
I thought it was fine. I think they probably could have worked for something better, but at the end of the day, it was whatever. Jalen had a pretty efficient game. Tatum's turnovers were bad. I thought Drew Holiday wasn't great either. Obviously, the shooting efficiency wasn't great, but a point I made that a comment joked at, I think it was Jimmy J saying, Derek White, wouldn't shoot this percentage because he'd stop shooting. And Jimmy J was laughing. That's true, though. Derek White's not going to shoot that poorly most nights because he stopped shooting. And I'm not going to call out Drew Holiday for being bad, in the sense that stop shooting, stop taking those shots, because Minnesota kind of forced him to take those shots by shutting off the rest of the offense. Kristaps Porzingis deserves criticism for that game too. Rudy Gobert shut him down inside and he wasn't hitting his threes, so he was kind of a nothing. Jason Tatum had the flurries. Jaylen Brown played all right. And then, if you really want to get into it, the bench didn't give him much either because Pritchard's been struggling. Sam Hauser shot okay, but if Derek White's not playing, that's when you need preseason Peyton Pritchard to step up, and he hasn't done that so far this season. Our viewer from Uruguay who DM'd me, messaged me, he goes, Peyton Pritchard wouldn't start in the Uruguayan basketball league. This is fucking ridiculous. Trade him out of here. He went off. It was very funny message. And as much as I believe in Pritchard will turn it around, he's been struggling mightily. And so you really just didn't get much from the Celtics offense. And it was sort of the perfect mix of Minnesota's defense being great and the Celtics offense having a catastrophic performance. But another thing I saw on Twitter, I think it was Adam Taylor who retweeted it. It's if the Celtics shot 29% from 3 last year, they probably lose by 20. And so if anything, it shows that they are just a more talented team this year. But now you have to take that talent and adjust to the opponent's adjustments and sort of treat the regular season like a playoff series in a sense. And I think Joe Mazzulla is ready to do that based on his, saying that was sick. I assume he's not going to just accept the loss and be okay with it. He seems more in tune this year, but he's not afraid to say what he thinks as much. And I'd expect them to come out with a fire under them in Philly. I would hope so, at least. They always play Philly well, but let's knock on wood there.
If I had to handpick a loss of the early season, it would probably be this one.
Philly, really? Or Timberwolves?
No, the Timberwolves.
Well, I was just talking about Philly. I wasn't sure if that's what you meant.
The loss that they have is the one I would have picked.
Yeah,
don't want them to lose opening night. Don't want to lose to Miami.
I thought Indiana was a questionable one, but Halliburton wasn't healthy. Mhm.
Undefeated against the Eastern Conference. Celtics run the East.
This is true. This is true. I think them and Philly have the same record, right? Philly's
They
also
do.
5-1. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Tyrese Maxey obviously has been playing fucking out of his mind. He's averaging 25 on 50, 40, 90 shooting, 7 assists a night. Kelly Oubre got picked up for a minimum contract, and he's averaging 18 points on 50, 40, 82 shooting. It's kind of fucking crazy.
Just wait till the backcourt gets their hands on them. The stock market.
I hope so.
Whatever.
Stock exchange. Yeah.
Celtics undefeated in top seed versus number 2 seed matchups this year. They actually have a plus 51 net rating in 1 versus 2 seed.
Oh, were the Pacers the 2 seed when they played
Yeah,
him?
they
Is
were.
that? Oh, I was like, what is he on about? No, yeah. I'm good with the Celtics treating this like a loss. I know you're more critical than I am usually. Are you good with this mindset? You're good with them saying, it's fine, we'll learn.
You have to get better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure. This is the type of quote that makes you angry. This will
It
make
makes you angry when
playoffs.
it's like the 10th time you hear it, when you see the same thing. When
Sure.
last year's Celtics team was like, yeah, we have to be better. And it's like, oh, you had to be better last time you blew a double-digit fourth quarter lead. What have you done to get better?
Sure. I see. Yeah. No, I understand.
They've earned a mulligan.
I agree. Richard White tweeted out, I need to find the tweet. He made a good point, and we can close there. But someone talked about the loss, and they were stressing, obviously. And Richard White, Derek White's dad, tweeted out. He might have deleted it, or maybe it's a reply. It was a good analogy, and it was some math that I can't do in my head, so I want to see it in front of me before I say it. Effectively, he said, 1 loss out of 6, like someone was complaining about this. 1 loss out of 6 translate to 63-19, not 5 and 77, right? So it's not like they're on pace to lose the rest of the season. They're on a good pace if this is how they play the rest of the year. So, enjoy it, I suppose. Anyways, let us know what you guys think of Kristaps' quotes and Joe and Tatum and the Celtics treating this as a learning experience rather than putting their heads down. I think we're both on board. Subscribe to How About Them Celtics. We appreciate you very much. And make sure to tune in. I'll let Sam take it out.
Hey, thank you very much for watching today as we prepare for the Sixers game. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily uploads or our live streams. Will be live before this game tonight. So come hang out, talk, be in the comments section. You can follow us on social media at How About Them C's. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Facebook is just the name of the pod. The pod, by the way, you can listen to on Apple and Spotify. If you just want the audio versions, you can follow us there, leave a 5-star rating, and say something nice. You can follow Jack on Twitter at Jax1NBA. You can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us.
Tic-tac-toe.